Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. 6 things that we learned from Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 1. I'm sat here, the sun is setting behind you guys in the camera right now. Looks gorgeous. Yesterday wasn't gorgeous whatsoever. Chelsea were beaten 1-0 and it was one of those defeats that really did feel painful because we didn't feel as though the Chelsea side that was put out there yesterday gave us much to cheer about. Frank Lampard made the comments about the fans, and some people kind of thought that I was being a bit too harsh on Frank. He was basically saying how if he was in the stands as well, he would have felt exactly the same and probably would have reacted exactly the same as the flat atmosphere suggested yesterday inside Stamford Bridge. But I've taken a bit more time. I've thought about it. This is what this series is. It's the series where the following day or a few hours after, if I don't sometimes do a match vlog, I give my thoughts and I break things down and I really pinpoint where it went well or where it went wrong. If you're not yet subscribed to the George Benson football channel, still 47% of people who watch these videos are not yet subscribed. So hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you never miss a video. I'm gonna start doing the review, like the post-match immediate thoughts. I'm just gonna call it Chelsea Unedited, which was the video I made yesterday. So if you did enjoy that one, go and check it out. It's a bit more raw. I don't really watch the game back or watch any highlights. I just say what's on my mind at the time. Whereas with 6 things that we learn, and we're gonna start with box number 1, it's the series where we kind of really do look into like who didn't perform very well, whose stats weren't very good, who didn't give the team anything going forward or at the back on the pitch. And sadly yesterday, box number 1, I've got to give it to Emerson. I don't think Emerson had his best game. Going forward, it's as if he was almost too nervous or didn't want to pass to Christian Pulisic, who we've seen this a couple of times so far this season, where it's looked as though some of the players don't want to pass to Pulisic. And yesterday, you know, Pulisic didn't have his best game, but he didn't really have any opportunities. The mic's going to fall off again. And in terms of Emerson's decision making, when he's in the final third, I kind of feel like he just gets a bit overwhelmed by everything and then doesn't know what to do. He could have passed it on numerous occasions, but didn't pass it, and then his end product just wasn't good enough. He could have had a goal himself as well from about 4 or 5 yards out. He didn't do it. And for me, I think it is simply a case of if Chelsea have got the money to spend, we should be in the market for a top-class left-back. I think Emerson on his day is a good player, a very good player. There's reasons why clubs such as Juventus are interested in the player. But in terms of taking Chelsea up to the next level, and in terms for me being confident from a defensive standpoint and to be able to offer us something going forward, I don't think Emerson is that guy. I think he's better than Alonso, but even going forward, I'd say Alonso is better than Emerson. So I think it is a position that we can all universally agree Chelsea need to strengthen. It's a bit nippy up here. So box number 2, I have to give this man a red box. I've said a lot of good things about this man recently. It is the Brazilian Willian. People have been talking about Willian being given a new contract. There's also rumours that he might run down his contract and then leave Chelsea. Again, Juventus. Maurizio Sarri wants all his flipping Chelsea players back, doesn't he? So, Willian's game yesterday, he only made 9 successful passes. Now, if you look at the centre-backs who made 90 passes each, like, it's actually ridiculous how Willian was on the pitch for, what, 60-odd minutes, 70 minutes? I don't even know what time it was he went off. To make 9 successful passes in that time, it's awful. And I mean, I was stood in row 4 in the shed lower yesterday, and in the first half, he beat the first man from a corner, and then everybody inside Stamford Bridge was just like, oh, surely he's not going to beat the first man 2 corners in a row. Lo and behold, waste of a delivery. And I think Willian needs to be permanently taken off corners. Mason Mount kind of does these like loopy corners that don't really have enough pace on them to do anything. But when Chelsea get a corner and Willian's over it, as the sun has just gone in, I hope it doesn't change the dynamics of the way I look in this video too much. Willian just doesn't offer Chelsea anything from set pieces right now. Yes, he can take a decent free kick. We've seen that over the years. But from a corner, come on, man. Like, it's just simple. Like, lift the ball off the ground, get a bit of whip on it, get a bit of pace on it. You got Kurt Zouma there and Rudiger who can go and attack the ball, and maybe we'll score a goal, but we don't even get into that position in the first place. I've praised him when he's done well, but yesterday, gotta give Willian his own red box. So people said to me, you've got to do a video after that kind of match that's only got red boxes in it. And I did think to myself, I was there on the train, I was fuming on the train home. If any of you saw me, I actually met 2 lads at Victoria Station who kind of made my day, to be honest. If you're watching this video, to the 2 lads I had pictures with in Victoria, thank you, because I was in a dreadful mood on my way home. And I was thinking like, yeah, why don't I just do 6 red boxes? But In retrospect, I want to give a green box to Kurt Zouma yesterday, because without some of his interceptions and blocks, which is something we needed to see integrated into Zouma's game, we needed to see him blocking more shots, Zouma did well yesterday, and if it wasn't for him, Bournemouth could have had a couple more goals, and there were some big last-ditch tackles. And if there was any positive to take from this game, I think that for me, Zouma is actually above Rudiger in terms of being more of a first-choice centre-back player. I know a lot of people will disagree with that. I think that Rudiger at times showed that he was decent, but he also showed that he's not played that many Premier League matches, if any, for the last couple of months, and I think he struggled at times again yesterday, Rudiger. But if we're looking for positives in what was an extremely negative performance, I'm going to give Zouma a green box. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. So box number 4, we move back to the red theme, which isn't something I want to do, but I have a little feeling we might be doing this a bit more often with the current Chelsea form. Mason Mount is in a red box today. I don't want to say anything bad about Mason Mount, but what I saw yesterday wasn't his best performance, and I think that he was lost a lot of times in the game. I think there were moments where, again, players could have passed to him but didn't pass to him. When Mason Mount doesn't have the ball and he's pressing but not winning the ball back, a lot of people are criticising what it actually is that Mason Mount brings to this Chelsea team. We know that he's got evident ability. He can score. When he's in positions around the box, we know that he's looking to get a shot away, but sometimes yesterday I think his decision making wasn't good enough. I don't think he got on the ball enough, and it wasn't his best game. And I do think that in recent weeks we've seen Mason Mount be a little bit more ineffective within the Chelsea side, and I think if Frank is going to change things for the game against Spurs, where, you know, Jose's probably going to put on some kind of tactical masterclass to outwit Frank Lampard and get the win over Spurs' London rivals, he's going to be absolutely gunning for that more than any other fixture. And I think that Frank does need to change things. I think Mason has not been involved as much recently, and whether it is a tactical change that Frank needs to do in order to shift things up so that players who can be effective, such as Mason Mount, can get more involved in the game, again, is end product. It's not been good enough recently either. He did get that goal against Aston Villa, but I do think there's improvements that need to be made, particularly from a tactical standpoint, so that Mason Mount can be more involved in the game. Speaking of tactical things, box number 5, I've got to give a red box to Frank Lampard. I don't think the substitutions yesterday were great. Again, Reece James was sat on the bench. I know that I just go on about this geezer all the flipping time, but when balls weren't going into the box, when we're trying to pass the ball into the flipping box again, like, what are we trying to do? It doesn't work. The players just aren't doing it. Tammy Abraham wasn't getting the service. Reece James is there on the bench, arguably one of the best crossers in the ball in the entire squad. Frank doesn't bring him on. I also think Michy Batshuayi was extremely ineffective when he came on. Pulisic wasn't getting involved in the game because he wasn't being passed to yesterday. Give Christian the benefit of the doubt. And I just don't think that Frank, on the touchline, is being vocal enough in the game. If the substitutions aren't working, there needs to be things that are shouted from the touchline in order to change things up. And, you know, from where I was sat, I'm always keeping an eye on the managerial area just to see what's going on. And I don't think Frank is changing things within the game as much as he should be. Whether it's something that's worked on in the training ground, where within a certain minute, if things aren't going Chelsea's way, we know to start shifting the play and doing something a bit different. At the moment, Frank even alluded to this himself in his press conference after the game. He said, I don't know what all of this side to side between the centre-backs, full-back to full-back thing is. We kept doing the same monotonous movements over and over again. The ball was played out to the winger. We didn't get the crosses into the box, so it goes back again. And then the whole pattern just completely repeats itself over and over again. Centre-back to centre-back. Kepa needs to start kicking it long sometimes as well. If he hoofs it towards Tammy Abraham, the two players that are out on the wing shrink inside to draw the players from outside out, to give the striker the ability to move on the ball, offload it to one of those players who have come in to help him. It would be something different that would enable Chelsea to stop being so predictable, so that teams, and at the moment this is something that's happening all the time, teams know how to defend against Chelsea. They know that if they sit back, Chelsea will press them, gaps will appear, and then they'll have an opportunity to score a goal. And with a fragile defence, the chances are it's not going to take teams that have opportunities, many, to get at least one of them in the back of the net. Credit to Bournemouth yesterday, they actually did defend very well, but at the same time, they didn't really need to defend that much at all. I think Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, got man of the match, but we didn't test him enough. We're not shooting from outside the area. We weren't doing anything to create real dominant offensive play yesterday, and it's something that desperately needs to change. Frank needs to work on it. He needs to tell his players to take more risks, shoot more, and stop trying to walk the ball into the back of the flipping net. But that being said, we're going to finish on a yellow box, and the yellow box is next weekend's game against Tottenham. Bloody hell, if ever there was a game that Chelsea could just use and just grab it. I don't know why I'm doing this as in to grab it. You know what I mean? Like literally stick it on these players this week. Tell them what it means to be a Chelsea player and a Chelsea fan. Go into Tottenham, especially in the form that we're in, against Jose Mourinho, ex-Chelsea manager. We need to go there and prove a point. We need to go there and turn up, show some fight. Yeah, I don't expect us to win that game next week. I really don't. I don't think we're going to win it because Spurs are playing so well. But at the same time, we've just got to go there and just show a bit of effort, show some pride to be wearing that shirt, and take what is an opportunity. It's kind of a free hit because no one expects us to win it. Look at this game as a chance to go there and show that we're willing to take risks. Go there and show that we're willing to try something different, and we're not this predictable team that constantly passes along the back line, that we're willing to try and make incisive passes, that we're willing to make runs that might not come off, but we're trying something different. And recently, for me, if I was to sum up the reasons why Chelsea's form has gone down the pan, it's because we are so predictable, we make the same movements over and over again, and I don't think there is a trust in the ability within the squad between one another that if you're going to make a pass to a certain player, they're going to do something with it to be able to move Chelsea forward. And I think there needs to be a confidence within these players in each other in order to be able to make those risks, take those risks, and get the benefits from it. But anyway, this has been the 6 things we learned video. 4 red boxes, 1 green and 1 yellow. The Spurs game, it could go very badly wrong and we'll be sat outside of the top 4 at Christmas. But I really think Frank needs to drill it into these players this week that this game means everything. It means everything to me, it means everything to you, and it should mean everything to all of those players that go out on the pitch next Sunday. Don't want to go turning up on the wrong day now, Benson, do we? Speaking of next Saturday, I'm taking a little trip to a capital city in Europe to do a bit of a scouting mission for a particular Brazilian and a particular French player. Let me know your guesses as to who that might be, who we might be meeting next weekend, in the comments down below. I will hopefully, and this is a little plea to anyone who's got a ticket for Spurs away, if for some reason you can't go, George Benson would absolutely love to take that ticket off your hands. I'll buy it. I've not got a ticket for Spurs away next weekend. I desperately want to go. Lawrence really wants to go as well. So if we can get 2 tickets, brilliant. 1, that would be incredible as well. But if not, I'm going to be in a particular city. I want you to guess in the comments down below. But as always, this series, it works off of your voice as well. Let me know in the comments down below what the 6 things were that you learned from yesterday's defeat at home to Bournemouth. I hope you've all had a great weekend. Christmas is coming very soon. It's the end of a decade as well. So I've got a few like top 10 Chelsea videos to end the decade coming out this week as well. Tomorrow is the Champions League draw. I've got a sick video coming out for that, so stay tuned tomorrow for a double upload. Catch you all later. Goodbye.